Hello there to all dear listeners and people who are watching us from YouTube. Welcome to our podcast, and today we're going to talk on a very important part of a relationship, and that's
We only
fighting.
talk about important parts.
Um, though we really can't really ignore this. These are all really important in our life, in leading our life and relations. So, for romantic relationships, these things must be maintained. That's what I assume and presume. So, today we're going to talk on how to never fight, and even if we do fight, then what do we really need to do to cure it? Okay, so to never actually fight, what if sometimes something happens and we actually lead up to fight? I think that's gonna take us really upon ourselves, upon us boys ourselves. I think we really have something to do with the initial part of the leading to fights. What do you think about it, Ashik?
Definitely. I believe that whatever we do in our life, that is 100% our responsibility, especially if you're in a relationship and if the person you are dating, and if you're the guy, if she's upset, 100% or at least 90% of the time, you are at fault. Even if you're not at fault, it's your job description as a boyfriend or husband to care about her and fix whatever she's upset about. And if you are at fault, definitely you should do that first. So
Okay, so I think so. We should definitely know what actually leads to the fights so that we can actually prevent it from happening, right?
yep,
So, in every relationships, instead of not actually wanting the fight, I think we should really closely know what leads to fight so that we can totally avoid those activities so that we really can keep hers interested in us.
yep.
Okay, so about the miscommunication that I would like to talk about. What do you think, Ashik, that can lead to the fight?
Well, usually when she's fighting you about something, that means she's unhappy about something. Ideally, like most of the case, it is basically you. Or else, if she's unhappy about something else, she would share with you what she's unhappy about. Okay,
Yeah.
so if she's fighting, that basically means that you both are in some sort of disagreement. And as you can see, if you want to clap someone, you cannot. If you want to clap your hands, you cannot clap with one hand. So if you guys are fighting, that basically means she's saying something to you and then you are responding negatively. So now the question might be, how, like, what does actually lead to that kind of a situation where you guys are fighting? Usually she's most of the time she's unhappy about is um, you being or becoming complacent, like you don't date her anymore, you are not keeping that mystery or interest up anymore like you did previously at the beginning of a relationship or when you guys were dating. So that is one of the reasons.
Definitely, she's going to find out the point that you have changed. You're not the same anymore.
Yeah, she's you're gonna hear something like that. You don't love me anymore, you have changed, blah blah blah. You're gonna hear that. It's your job not to like let her think that way.
Yeah.
And also if like you becoming complacent, taking her granted is basically the reason that she is losing interest from you. That
So you
causes
should definitely
miscommunication.
not. Yeah. So I think you should definitely not uh, put all the blame on her
Yeah.
because it's you. If you can
Ideally, I
control
take
her,
the blame on myself. Like even if
yeah.
like my girlfriend, if she says that I'm sorry, I put you through this, like I was being so naggy and whiny about that. Like I say, it's totally normal because women are more emotional creatures and men are more like calculative creatures. So
Yeah,
as I said, if she says I hate you, that basically means she's feeling that thing at that particular moment, not like in general. It's just
yeah,
she's saying whatever she's feeling at that moment. So um, it's totally fine. Like I let her say whatever she's thinking or feeling at that moment. That gets the thing out of her. And ideally, I believe that if I made her upset, that is literally my fault. Because as a boyfriend, it's my job description to like keep her happy. I don't want her to be upset for anything that I did, right?
yeah. So I think definitely we should not blame the hers in this game.
Yep.
I think it's all about us, and especially even if we are rejected in any form of relationship, dumped, I think it's all on us that we could not keep her interested
Yep.
or could not spice the things up for her.
It might
So,
be that there might be situations when there is none of our fault, but if we take the responsibility, we're not blaming ourselves. I'm not blaming the guys for anything. I'm just taking
no,
responsibility.
yeah,
If
I think
I
that's
take
going
the
to,
responsibility
yeah,
and do the best that I can, then things will go my way, even if I'm at fault or not. So I'm not definitely blaming the guys, by the way.
yeah, and that's going to play a huge role in our personal development as well.
Yep,
That's going to even make us a better man than we were before that point.
definitely.
So and these problems I think leads to the first step that it leads to, I think, the miscommunication,
Yep.
that she feels something negative from you, she stops talking to you, and from your side you don't actually know about it because
Yeah.
girl is not going to speak it loud on you that I'm mad at you, I'm not going to talk to you. She's just going to get on that silent board, or she's going to remain herself.
Yep.
So seeing her ignorance, I think you're going to start ignoring her as well, or the communication is gonna get down, or the frequency of the communication is going to get so low. I think miscommunication is one of the most uh, factorial step here that actually
Leading causes of breakups.
splits us. Yeah,
Yeah.
splits us apart. So,
Well,
what do you further think on miscommunication?
yeah. So as I was saying, the complacency, like if you become complacent and don't care about her anymore, that is gonna cause miscommunication. There might be other factors as well, but one of the main points about miscommunication is that when she's saying something, guys tend to take it personally. Never take
Yeah,
it personally. Whenever she is saying something that I don't love you anymore, and you take it personally, and then you said you loved me that day, why are you saying you? So that is an example of miscommunication. Okay, when she is
yeah,
saying that, you have to understand what women are actually trying to tell you, not what they're actually telling you, what they're trying to tell you. It's like now you cannot blame women that they don't give you direct answers or anything. They do all those stuff, but what you have to understand is that we are machines like computers. We have different ways of talking and expressing ourselves. If you talk to a computer in English, it would not understand. You have to talk it in terms of code, zeros or ones, binary language.
yeah,
Then the computer would understand. So women, they are a little bit different than human beings, although like, not human than male human beings. Sorry about that. So they are a bit different than male. So their language is a bit different than our language. We do not care about like what we feel. For example, if my friend is saying that she likes a girl and I know that the girl does not really like him, then I would say to his face that that girl doesn't like you. I wouldn't care about what that person feels. But women are more caring and emotional creatures. That's why they're mothers. Okay,
Yeah.
so which is good. We need both masculine and feminine energy in this world. So their way of communicating is more feminine. They don't want to hurt you. They don't want to be in your way. So they would start shit testing you, which they don't know that they're shit testing you. They're just trying to kick your balls and get your masculinity back again. That's what they're trying to do when you become complacent. You cannot take that personally. You must not take that personally. They're just trying to help you without even knowing. Okay, that's how they're designed. So you should be thankful for that to women. Now, if you fail all the shit tests, like I'm continuously using the term
Man.
shit test, if you fail all of her tests, then she would stop caring anymore. She would stop testing you anymore. She would give you the silent treatment. She might do that before as well. She would become totally silent and she would stop communicating. Like that's
Oh my
what
God,
happens when you.
they're really good at it.
Yeah. So we want that you don't end up in a situation like that. That's why we're trying to create awareness with this podcast and stuff. But that's the worst situation actually.
Okay, so from the miscommunication to the silent game, I think we talked a lot about the preventions, and I know prevention is better than cure, but in reality, actually, it is not always being able to be applied. So fights really do happen, right? In our surroundings, fights really do happen, and it's very often in every so other family or every so other couples. So what do you think about the curing, the fixing of the fights? Once you have the fight, what do you do to fix it up?
Well, first of all, I do strongly believe that it is preventable. Of course, prevention is better than cure, as you said.
Yeah,
And I believe
definitely.
that it is 100% curable. Like, you don't have a fight unless you start fighting yourself,
Okay.
unless you join the fight. So, what I like to do is, like, I never fight. Like, I never start arguing with women because you have to understand that if you are the guy in the relationship, women always wins. You
Okay.
have to
Yeah,
accept
definitely.
that by your heart. I'm not saying that in a bad way. Okay, they're emotional
No.
creatures. You cannot give your logic and stuff to make them think logically. If they were logical creatures like male, then there wouldn't be point in being in a relationship with a girl. I could as well date a guy, which
Yeah.
some of you might do, because you have that masculine and feminine energy. Even in same gender relationships, there is a person who is more masculine than the other person.
Yeah.
So there is always this balance of energy. So what was I saying?
So
So
it's all about prevention and
yeah,
and
exactly.
and
I
we're talking about
strongly
cure
believe
right now.
that fights can be 100% prevented. You don't have to be in a fight. Now, you might say that, okay, if I'm not fighting, if she's abusing me, like, how do I deal with that situation? You might think in that way. You might think that if she's abusing you, it's your job, it's your choice to be in a relationship or not. Both if you're a
Yeah,
guy
you
or a girl.
can definitely part
If this
yourself.
is
Yeah.
an abusive partner, it's totally okay. It's totally your choice to decide whether to be in a relationship or not. But let's say this is not an abusive relationship. She is a very sweet person and you know her because you have dated her for so long. Then she suddenly become like giving you silent treatment, giving like trying to pick
Yeah.
fights with you. What do you do then? Then what you have to understand that there's no point in arguing with women. First of all, there's
Yeah.
no point in arguing at all because
Yeah.
what they're coming from is a place of emotion. So
Yeah.
whatever they're saying at this point
They're
is
living at the moment, actually.
they're living in the moment. Exactly, they do it better than guys. That's why they have more intuitive power actually. That's one
Yeah.
of the things. So what they're doing is they are telling you what they're actually feeling at that moment. Now, if she's silent, if you understand that, if you're having a feeling that something is wrong, let's say things have not become that bad yet. Okay, so how do you actually prevent it from getting that bad situation? Okay, so what you do is, if you feel that the vibe is a little bit wrong, whenever you feel that something is wrong, something is definitely wrong. Whenever
Yeah.
you start to get that feeling that she's acting a bit weird, something is definitely wrong. It's your
Yeah.
job at that very beginning to find out what's wrong. Okay,
Yeah. And fix
even
it.
if it is like she's on that time of her month, okay, it's your job to
Okay.
find out that that is the reason that she's upset, or she's being silent, or she's not acting normal. So if you can figure that out in the very beginning, then the fight or anything would not happen. She might be upset because of you, because of someone else in her work, family, whatever. This is totally normal thing. If you're an emotional being, you will become upset at some point. If not, then that's awesome. You're a great, whatever, yogi or something. But it is totally normal for emotional creatures to be upset. Women are more emotional than men, so they can be more upset, or more frequently upset. So what you have to do is, once you see that sign that she is upset, she's not talking, she's not acting normal, you go and start asking her what's wrong. That's the first thing that you have to do. If she is upset, you go and ask her what's wrong. If she says nothing is wrong, you still ask her what's wrong, because
Yeah,
women
they're
sometimes,
definitely gonna say nothing
yeah,
is wrong, nothing, nothing, nothing. They're just gonna keep on saying that for a few days, maybe.
yeah, because they don't really want to hurt you if they
Yeah,
care about you that much.
yeah.
Also,
And they do have that expectation that you
yeah,
need to find it out.
you
What
need to find
the?
out exactly. Yep, yep. The first thing that I said, that is like very rare situation. What you said is more common, because they want you to find it out. They want you to understand, and exactly that is true, because you are the guy. You should know how to talk to women. If you are a software developer, you should know how to write a code on the computer.
Yeah,
If there
that
is
is
a
the.
bug, you should know where that semicolon is missing in that code.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so it's your job to understand that something is wrong, and your job is to find it out. As a boyfriend, it's your job description. You have to accept that. Okay, once you accept that, your relationship would be really smooth. It's literally in your job description to keep her happy and find out what's wrong with her, why she's feeling that. Now, once you do that, your target is to find out what she's going through at that particular moment. She would be silent, she would be like cross-termed and all that. And what you can do is, if she's not willing to tell you, if she's saying, leave me, go away, I don't want to talk to you now, don't leave her. If she says, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you now, don't leave her. She's saying something, but she's feeling something different. When she says that, she's basically saying that, don't leave me, I want you to find it out. That's what she's saying, or trying to say, at least. Don't leave her. You cannot leave her until you hear a few words that I'm going to tell you in a moment. So when she says, I'm good, leave me alone, stuff like that, don't leave her, find that out what she's trying to say. How you do that is break the cycle. Let's say she's in emotional cycle of, let's say she's feeling bad about something, she's upset, she is, I don't know, whatever, she's feeling bad or angry about you, angry about something about you. Okay, what you do is break that cycle. Be utterly ridiculous.
okay.
Poke her, tickle her. She's your girlfriend after all. Or if you're
Yeah,
on the
definitely.
phone, say, I'm not gonna hang up on you. She might hang up. She won't hang up, ideally. Like, even though she says, I don't want to talk to you anymore, she would hold the phone and wait for you to hang up. And then the next time you call her, it's gonna be hell. She usually doesn't hang up. Even she hangs up the phone, call her again, and don't leave the phone, or don't leave her from your side until she says what's wrong. Let's say say you are in a hospital, she's in a hospital, and then you feel like you ask her that, okay, I want to go play FIFA with my friends. And then when she comes back, then all of a sudden she might be angry at you because you did not take the garbage can out. And then you want to, why is she upset at me because I did not take the garbage can out? She is not upset at you because of the trash can or garbage can. She is upset about you because you did something wrong. You have to find out what is basically bugging her. You have to ask her what is bothering you. You have to find it out. She would tell you. She will tell you slowly. Now, what do you do when she actually tells you what's bugging her? She might say, you did this, this, and that. You cannot take it personally. What guys do, the biggest mistake is argue back. You cannot win an argument with her. What the biggest mistake guys do is they argue back. They start.
It's only going to worsen it.
Exactly, it's 100% worsen it, and they start a PowerPoint presentation that this is this and this I did for you. Why are you? Why are you saying you don't love me? You said you love me, and all that crap. Guys start to argue with logic. You have to understand logic is a different language, emotion is a different language. You have to understand the emotion if you want. Now you might say that I don't want to change for any human being, I don't want to change for a girl, I'm good as a fine, get rejected, don't experience the good kind of a interesting relationship and loving relationship that you want. Fight with her, I don't care, we don't care, right? We're trying to help you out. You have to understand and remember and totally believe two things: that you cannot win an argument with women because they are emotional creatures and you are a more logical creature. You are also emotional, but you don't start acting like a total emotional being when she's being emotional. When she's being emotional, you try to get that negative emotion out of her. That would be the logical thing to do on your part. If you start acting emotional, then the fight will get worse. Right? So in this situation, you cannot put out fire with fire. You would worsen the fire with fire. So when she says,
if in the middle you've lost total of her interests, I think no matter what you try, you're not going to get her back.
Exactly. So what you have to do is, before that it's too late like that, you have to weather the storm. How you do that? As I was saying, you cannot be you cannot take it personally whatever she says, because she is saying that out of whatever she is feeling at that particular instant, at that particular second. She does not mean that, so you must not take it personally. Whenever she is saying that I hate you, she does not hate you. She's just saying she's feeling bad at that particular moment, so that's why she's saying that. She does not mean that. You cannot bring that up later in a conversation and accuse her of saying, you said you hate me, why did you say? You don't do that. Now, you continuously have to understand how to, you have to continuously get the things out of her. Let's say if she says, oh, you did not this thing for me, and then what do you say? You say, okay, so tell me more. Okay, so, and then repeat something back to her. You say, okay, so I did this, this, and that, and that's how, that's what I did. That's what made you upset, right? And then you ask her, how did that make you feel at that moment? You ask about what she's feeling, and then you try to correct that thing. You say that, okay, so this and this what I did, I'm really sorry for that. I'm sure I won't do this again. I won't make you upset. Even though you might have done something really correct, you did the correct thing. Even then, if that made her upset, you have to say at that moment that that's what made her upset. So you will try your best not to upset her again with that same thing. You learn from your mistakes. You assure her that. One of the most frustrating things about anybody, not just women, not just what women feel about guys, just anybody. The most frustrating thing is that I know that if I'm trying to tell you something, you won't change. That is the most frustrating thing for me. So if for a girl, that is more of an emotional thing, that her boyfriend is acting certain way that she won't like. Even if you are that kind of this red, that you don't want to change yourself, you at least assure her that you're at that moment that it's okay, I won't do that again, and I promise I don't want to upset you again. Tell me more. At that point, if everything is out of her, when she says that I'm really glad we talked to you. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have reacted that way. I'm sorry, I won't do that. That's totally fine. Until you hear those magic words that she says that I'm really glad we talked. Um, I'm sorry for being like such a whiny person and all that. Until you hear those words, things are not over. If she says, I'm fine, go away, I'll talk to you later, it's not over. Don't leave her. You have to get the thing out of her, get those specific words out of her. Now, the ladies, if you guys are listening to us, don't just say these words to your boyfriends just for, getting them off your shoulders. Don't do that. I'm just telling guys what they need to hear, genuinely.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and they might even end up asking for we need a break,
yeah.
and
So,
I assume that's gonna be a exact a direct in the face,
yeah.
a big no for the relationship, and the
Yeah.
relationship
So,
is
if you don't do those things, so she's talking about something which would definitely happen if this things, if you don't do these things correctly. At some point, it will be so bad that you don't even care about her. You, even if you care, you don't know how to care, how to show that you care. You would probably say, "Hey, see, I care about you." And whatever you say doesn't matter. How you act
matter.
is what matters. So what is she saying is that if you do not take care about her, then that would happen at some point. There's a point of no return.
Yeah.
So,
So
guys
so
usually at some point when that they reach that point, what happens is that guys are like, oh, it was a nice relationship. She suddenly said, let's break up. It was not a nice relationship. It's not her fault. She lost interest. That's why she suddenly says that let's break up. So guys usually don't see those coming because
yeah,
guys don't know how to read those signs. So
yeah,
at some
that
point they feel betrayed and all that, and then they after breakup they blame their ex and they feel like all women are same and all that shit. So I'm telling you, if you see
the
those warning
responsibility is
signs,
there.
step
Yeah.
up your game.
And take the responsibility.
Yep.
All right. So, with that, it's going to be a call of a day for us with this episode. So, we have been your hosts, Ishti and Ashik. We are signing off today, and we all will see you in our next episode. So, till then, bye bye.